Amy's little sister Luann has brain damage, which causes a lot of problems. When Amy tries to go to the mall with her new friend Ellen, Luann ruins everything. Luann humiliates her in a crowd, Luann destroys tulips at the flower shop, and the store owner yells at her. At the end of the trip, Ellen cancels their plans for tomorrow. Amy is furious that Luann has made her lose yet another friend. This is not a happy note for the book to start out on.
Argo Font Book Review, Argo Font Book Review.
This review brought to you by Patreon. Patreon, please give me your money. When Amy complains to her mom, Mom blames her for everything and accuses her of being a terrible big sister. So Amy runs away to her Aunt Clare. Aunt Clare lives in a cabin in the woods. Aunt Clare and Dad lived there with their grandparents for a year while growing up. It's been empty for a long time now. Inside the attic, Amy finds a dollhouse, which is a perfect replica of the cabin. Amy loves it, while Aunt Clare seems to hate it. There are 4 little dolls of the 4 family members. Amy puts the dolls in the dining room, but when she goes to close the dollhouse later, Grandma's doll is in the parlor. Did someone else move it? Dolls don't move by themselves. Aunt Clare offers to have Amy live with her for a while, and she even offers to give her a birthday party. Amy is sure her parents will say no, but Dad agrees. He thinks Claire needs somebody to help her with her terrible memories. It's true that Aunt Clare has major mood swings, but what terrible memories is Dad talking about? Aunt Clare and Dad moved out of the house when their grandparents died. They both refused to talk about the deaths, so Amy looks in old newspapers. As the title of the book indicates, they were murdered by an unknown gunman. Dad survived because he was hidden in a closet. Claire was hospitalized with shock, especially when her boyfriend died in a car crash that same night. There were no suspects, and the case went unsolved. Aunt Clare is furious when she hears Amy telling Ellen about the murders. Can you really blame Amy, though? If I found out that my great-grandparents were murdered, I would be interested in learning more. It's only natural. Even if they weren't related to Amy, it still makes sense for her to be interested in learning about the double murder. Amy is living in the house. 2 people were killed in this house. That's interesting. Someone moves the dolls in a dollhouse, so they're all in the spots they were when the murder took place. Aunt Clare is horrified that Amy is playing murder games with her dolls. Amy swears she didn't move them, but Claire doesn't believe her. Amy starts to believe there's a ghost in a dollhouse. She gets scared when she sees the dollhouse glowing, and something's moving inside. When she opens it up, the dolls have moved again. Amy shuts the dollhouse and covers it. She decides that's the end of the story. She's never going to touch the dollhouse or think about it again. Amy clearly has not read many ghost stories. Mom's out-of-state friend has an emergency, so Amy is forced to have Luann at her 13th birthday party. Luann instantly plans how to turn it into her party, and Amy worries it will be a disaster. Luckily, the party ends up being a major success. At 2 in the morning, Luann sneaks out of bed to play with the dollhouse. Amy follows her. They see the grandma doll cry in the library and knock over books. Amy is terrified, and she tells Aunt Clare the truth about the dollhouse. Aunt Clare explains she had a secret boyfriend. He was many years older than her, and he had a drinking problem. When she refused to elope with him, he threatened to have it out with her grandparents. That was the same day they were murdered. Claire has blamed herself ever since. She thinks the ghost in a dollhouse proves that she's guilty for her grandparents' deaths. It's stormy that night. Amy and Luann wait for Aunt Clare to be asleep before they go up to the attic again. They watch the Dollhouse Murders play out until the part where the attacker breaks down the library door in order to kill Grandma. The girls run screaming to Aunt Clare. They realize it's strange the grandma doll is touching books in the library right before her death. They investigate in the real library. Inside a book, Luann finds a letter from Grandma, written moments before she died. The letter says the killer is Reuben Miller. Who? Reuben is the handyman who died decades ago. He's not important. The important part is that Claire's boyfriend didn't do it. Grandma's a friendly ghost who wanted to reveal the truth and relieve Claire's feelings of guilt. The book ends on a happy note as Amy realizes how much she loves Luann, and Dad says family is the best thing in the world. The end. Post-book follow-up. This book is well written. I imagine it's incredibly difficult to write a book where the main character dislikes her handicapped sister without making it seem like the main character is a hateful monster. The book doesn't portray things in black and white. Amy has conflicted feelings about Luann, and the story doesn't shy away from going into the topic. That's good, because the book's description is not at all sensitive towards the subject of disabilities. I was worried the entire book would be that way. Thank goodness it's not. I know the description is over 35 years old at this point, but they should definitely change it to something that's more accurate and less offensive. The mystery aspect to this book is so-so. The story of the murder is interesting, but Amy's investigation is not. Amy knows the dollhouse is the key to solving the mystery, but she's scared of it, so she doesn't investigate. She goes out of her way to avoid investigating. I'm not a fan of mysteries where the detective ignores the mystery. Plus, the killer reveal is a total letdown. Reuben Miller? He's the culprit? Who is he? It's a person we've never heard of before, with a motive we've never heard of before. It feels more like a disappointment or a cheater solution rather than a good, solid resolution to the mystery. So I'm complaining the book breaks the first commandment of detective fiction. Oh, and it also breaks the second commandment, too. The ghost story aspect to the book is a lot stronger than the mystery aspect. Things get scarier as the story goes on. The environment, in particular, becomes scarier. First the light in the attic goes out, then there's a thunderstorm, then the power to the house goes out. It escalates, and that works. Overall, it's a good scary story with some depth in regards to the character's emotions and having a disabled family member. It's not my favorite book by any means, but I guess I can see why some people consider it a classic and why it's still in print today. I give the Dollhouse Murders a 7.5 out of 10.